I met the woman I should marry, and I met the woman I can't stop thinking about. And I'm about to lose both of them. It's 2:47 a.m. on a Wednesday, and I'm sitting in my living room in Portland, Oregon, staring at two text messages on my phone. One is from Emma. It says, "Hope you slept well. Coffee tomorrow before work." The other is from Sophie. It says, "Still thinking about tonight. You make everything better." And I feel like the worst person alive, because I care about both of them, deeply, in completely different ways. And I know that by the end of this week, I'm going to lose one of them, maybe both, because I have to choose. And I genuinely don't know how. My name is Ben.
I'm 32.
I work in graphic design for a marketing agency downtown. I've never been a player. I've never juggled women or lied my way through relationships. I believe in being a one-woman man. I believe in commitment. I believe in doing the right thing. Which is why I'm sitting here at almost 3 a.m., feeling sick to my stomach about what I've allowed to happen. Let me back up. 6 months ago, I moved into a new apartment in the Hawthorne district. Small building, 8 units, the kind of place with hardwood floors and exposed brick that feels like it belongs in a coffee table book about authentic Portland living. My neighbor across the hall is Emma. She's 30, works as a city planner, quiet, thoughtful, the kind of person who always has a book in her bag and actually reads it on the max instead of scrolling through her phone. We met the day I moved in. She brought over a plate of homemade banana bread and a bottle of local kombucha, very Portland, and welcomed me to the building. We started talking on the porch in the evenings, just casual at first. Weather, work, recommendations for coffee shops. But over time, the conversations got deeper. She told me about growing up in Eugene, about her parents who've been married for 35 years and still hold hands when they walk, about wanting that kind of stability someday. I told her about my family in Boise, about the pressure to settle down, about feeling like I was running out of time to figure out what I wanted. And somehow, without either of us planning it, we started spending more time together. Sunday mornings at the farmer's market, cooking dinner at her place, long walks around Laurelhurst Park, talking about everything and nothing. It was easy, comfortable, peaceful. She made me feel like I could exhale, like after years of chasing something I couldn't quite name, I'd finally found someone who just fit. By 3 months in, we were spending almost every evening together. Not officially dating, but close. Close enough that I started imagining what it would look like if we made it official. I could see it clearly. Sunday mornings with coffee and the New York Times crossword. Trips to Cannon Beach, meeting her parents, building something real. And then I met Sophie. Sophie is a copywriter at my agency. She started 2 months ago. She's 29, sharp, funny, the kind of person who walks into a room and changes the energy. The first time we talked, really talked, was at a team happy hour at a bar on Burnside. Everyone else had left, but we stayed. We talked for 3 hours straight about everything from childhood dreams to terrible first dates to the absurdity of modern dating apps. She laughed at my jokes in a way that made me feel seen. Not polite laughter, real laughter. And when she laughed, she leaned in, touched my arm, held my gaze a little longer than necessary. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Electricity. Over the next few weeks, it escalated. She'd send me random texts at 11 p.m., memes, song recommendations, stupid inside jokes from the office. We started getting lunch together, then coffee after work, then drinks on Fridays. And I absolutely knew, that I was crossing a line because I was still seeing Emma. And Sophie didn't know about Emma. And Emma didn't know about Sophie. Here's the thing I need you to understand. I'm not trying to justify this. I'm not proud of it. But I genuinely didn't set out to hurt anyone. With Emma, things moved slowly, naturally. We never had the talk about being exclusive. It just felt understood that we were moving in that direction. With Sophie, everything was fast, intense, unpredictable. And when she looked at me, I felt wanted, desired, chosen. Not in a shallow way, in a way that made me feel like I was finally the version of myself I'd always wanted to be. With Emma, I felt safe, stable, like I could build a life. With Sophie, I felt alive, electric, like I was finally taking a risk worth taking. And I know how that sounds. I know it sounds like I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too, but the truth is more complicated than that. Because I wasn't lying to either of them. I wasn't sneaking around. I wasn't hiding anything. I was just existing in the strange liminal space where I hadn't committed to either one, and both of them seemed okay with where we were. Until last week. Emma and I were sitting on her porch on a Sunday evening. The sun was setting. She had her legs tucked under her on the chair, holding a mug of tea, and she said, casually, "So, where do you see this going?" I felt my stomach drop. "What do you mean?" I asked, even though I knew exactly what she meant. "Us," she said, smiling gently. "I mean, we've been spending a lot of time together, and I'm not in a rush or anything, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page." I didn't know what to say, because the truth was, I wasn't sure what page I was on. I told her I cared about her, that I saw a future with her, that I just needed a little more time to figure things out. She nodded, said she understood, said she wasn't going anywhere, but I could see it in her eyes, the question, the doubt, and I hated myself for putting it there. 2 days later, Sophie and I were at a bar in the Pearl District after work. She was telling me about a trip she wanted to take to Big Sur, said she'd been saving up, said she wanted to go with someone who got it. And then she looked at me and said, "I think that someone is you." I laughed it off, said we should plan it. And then she leaned in, close enough that I could smell her perfume, and said, "I like you, Ben. Like, really like you. And I think you like me too." I didn't say anything. She pulled back slightly, smiled. "I'm not asking you to marry me or anything. I don't want to waste time if this isn't going anywhere. I'm not the kind of person who does ambiguous." And just like that, the clock started ticking. So here I am, sitting in my apartment at 3 a.m., trying to figure out how I got here. Because the reality is, I could be happy with either of them. With Emma, I see Sunday mornings, stability, building something that lasts, meeting her parents, getting engaged in a year or two, buying a house in Selwood, having kids, growing old with someone who feels like home. With Sophie, I see spontaneity, passion, late-night drives and last-minute flights and conversations that stretch until sunrise. I see feeling alive in a way I haven't felt in years. And I don't know which one is right. I don't know if passion fades and stability is what you build a life on, or if safety eventually becomes boredom and you spend the rest of your life wondering what you missed. I keep asking myself, which version of happiness do I want? The one where I feel safe, or the one where I feel alive? Can I live with whichever decision I make? What if I choose wrong and spend the rest of my life regretting it? What if I choose right and still wonder about the other path? I've been lying awake at night playing out both futures. Future one, I choose Emma. We make it official. I meet her family at Thanksgiving. She introduces me to her friends. We move in together. We talk about marriage. We plan trips to places we've always wanted to go. We build routines. We grow comfortable. And maybe years from now, I'll be sitting in our living room watching her read a book, and I'll feel grateful, content, or maybe I'll feel restless, wondering what would have happened if I'd chosen differently. Future two, I choose Sophie. We take that trip to Big Sur. We fall deeper. It's intense and messy and exhilarating. We fight sometimes because we're both passionate. But we make up in ways that make the fights worth it. And maybe years from now, I'll be lying next to her, watching her sleep, and I'll feel like I made the right choice. Like I chose risk over safety and it paid off. Or maybe the intensity fades. Maybe we burn out. Maybe I realized too late that I traded stability for a spark that couldn't sustain a lifetime. Yesterday, Emma texted me asking if I wanted to come over for dinner this weekend. Sophie texted me asking if I was free Friday night. I haven't responded to either of them yet, because I know that once I do, I'm committing to a path, and I'm terrified of choosing wrong. I'm not looking for validation. I'm not looking for someone to tell me I'm not a bad person, even though I know I've handled this terribly. I'm looking for honest advice. If you were in my position, how would you choose? Do you choose the person who makes you feel safe, even if there's less fire? Or do you choose the person who makes you feel alive, even if there's less certainty? Is it possible to have both? Or is that just a fantasy? And if you've been in a situation like this, if you've ever had to choose between two people you genuinely cared about, how did you know which one was right? I need to make a decision by the end of this week, and I genuinely don't know what to do.